Hello and welcome to this Xplane video. Today we are going to be checking out a new plugin that I've just found and got myself set up with. This is the XP Career plugin. Now the goal of this plugin is to kind of simulate a pilot going through a career and starting out with small planes, doing a few odd jobs here and there, and then as you work your way up through the ranks you go on extra check rides, you earn extra licenses, and then you can ultimately fly bigger and more advanced aircraft. We're going to be starting off with our PA-18 here. As I mentioned, there's different licenses that you can get, and you start out just with a very basic license. So you're only allowed to fly low performance aircraft, anything less than 200 horsepower, and it has to be piston based. So in the plugins we can take a look at the XP Career here. I've already set everything up with a profile, so if I go into the main window here I can see that I've started off with $5,000 in this case, and I've got no reputation and I've not taken any flights yet, 0 hours. So what we need to do is work our way up and earn some money, because we can actually own aircraft. So if I head across to the fleet section here, we can see that I can actually purchase my own aircraft. Right now, if I were to fly, I would be renting, and obviously I would need to pay rental fees for that. Whereas when we get our own aircraft, we don't need to worry about rental fees, but we will need to make sure that we stay on top of our maintenance and our insurance. So that will be much later though, because we've got very little money, and if we look here, we have a PA-18 on the used market here for 120,000. We've got a long way to go to get there. We can of course take out a loan to help us get to that, but the maximum loan here is 100,000, and that comes with some very steep repayment costs. So we're going to do a good old plenty lot of jobs, get our reputation up, build up some hours, and then we'll look at either jumping on a check ride so we can go into some more high performance craft, or we'll look at potentially trying to own a low performance aircraft. That's all a long way out. So let's have a look at some available jobs. So down here we've got these different types of jobs. So we can do an air show, we can fly some banners, we can do some skydives, we can fly some cargo or some passengers here. And now what I'm actually going to do here, I'm going to do a banner mission. I've flown a few of these in my testing, and they're actually pretty fun. So we'll give them a go. We've got a banner mission here. It's a 25 nautical mile distance, so I believe this is calculating the round trip distance. So it's going to be 12 miles out and then 12 miles back. So we're going to go ahead and start this mission. I'm just going to click this little plus button here, and we can see that this is our active job here. We can go ahead and adjust how much fuel we need on our plane here. Our estimated distance was 25 miles here, so we really don't need a huge amount of fuel at all, but I'm going to take let's say an hour and a half worth of fuel. That gives us plenty of range over the top there. So I'm going to set the fuel there, and then we're going to go ahead and fly the mission. So we can see we're going to get paid 1,250 for doing this. We have to pay some charter costs, we have to pay landing fees and some tax here. So overall we're going to make $977. Let's press fly now. That's going to set our fuel correctly in our aircraft here, and then we are told that we need to load up the towing equipment. So if I press load here, that will go ahead and simulate attaching the towing equipment to our plane here. And then as soon as this is completed, we will be told to start the engine. There we go. So tow equipment has been attached. So let's head inside the cockpit and let's get my PA-18 fired up. Let's chuck our mixture to rich. Make sure that our mags are set to both. We are going to come up here to our panel. We're going to add master power and avionics. I'm going to flick on our beacon as well. Get that going. Down here on our transponder, let's set this to 1200. Add in standby. Give a few pumps on the primer. Make sure that our parking brake is set, which it is. Looking good. Just verify all that with a checklist. Fuel gauges, we'll have a look in a second. Fuel valve, we need to check that one. Where's our fuel valve? Is on both. Let's check our fuel. Yeah, so at our 3 point where we are right now, we've got just over quarter of a tank, or just under half a tank, realistically, on both sides. That's fine. So let's go ahead and give a start. Good. So we started up here. We're going to give this a little while to warm up. While I do that, I'm going to taxi out to the runway here. We're going to take a look at our little in-game map, simulator map, and we can see here that we have this airport, Oaksey Park, and our current active runway for departures is runway 22, and we're taking off of 22 just here. We then need to pick up our banner, and then we are going to fly it around. It will give us the bearing that we need to fly on when we are up here. I believe it's supposed to show you here in this window, in this map view, but I cannot work out a way to show me that. Right, while we wait for that to warm up, let's go ahead, release our parking brake, and we're going to make our way down to the departure end of 22. Right, we're down at the departure end. Let's do some quick run-up checks. So we'll bring it up to, let's do 1800 RPM. There we go. And let's grab our mags one by one. Okay, we hear a drop. We should also see a drop on our RPM, which we do. Back to both, and then onto the left mag. We see a drop, and we come back up again. Looking good. So mags are checked. Still waiting on our temperature slightly, so we'll leave the RPM raised. Gonna go ahead and drop a notch of flap. For some reason it comes down immediately. It doesn't come down smoothly. Let's go ahead and set our transponder to our altitude mode. Trim is looking pretty neutral. Let's go for a takeoff here. We're nearly up into the green with our oil temperature. So we need to taxi, we've taxied, we need to take off, and then we need to go and pick up our banner. So let's release our parking brake down there. Let's increase our power. There we go, tail wheels up. And we're off. I forgot my landing light for takeoff, which is incredibly embarrassing, but there we go. Alright, I'm going to leave my flaps down for now because I need to go and pick up the banner, and that's indicated by this giant blue smoke signal over here. So I'm going to keep the speed nice and slow. And then what we're going to do is loop around and come on to the approach for the other runway. That should allow us to get low enough and close enough to be able to pick up that banner which is over there. It's just on the approach end of runway 11, I believe. Look, 17. So there it is. We need to be at less than 20 feet AGL, and then between 45 and 75 knots to pick that banner up. Oil pressure and temperature is looking good. The oil temp is just into that green phase, which is nice. How are we looking on our fuel situation? Yeah, now we're in level flight. We can see we're just below half a tank. Lovely. Right, we've got a fairly decent crosswind, it seems like. Let's give ourselves a nice turn here. My yaw control is incredibly sensitive, so I will definitely not be in coordinated flight for any of this session. Give a slight descent on here as well. There's our mark. We need to be essentially directly above it. Nice and slow, nice and low. So. That big white splodge is the banner on the ground there. It's probably a little bit too high for this one. No, we managed to get it. I would not say that was 20 feet AGL, but there we go. 254 we need to fly for 9 miles. So let's give ourselves a nice right turn out here. Bring ourselves onto our 254 heading, or now 255. It does dynamically update, which is pretty cool to see. And very helpful, especially seeing as this plane has no navigation whatsoever. So I'm going to get us climbed up a little bit here. I'm not going to go much higher than 1,000. I'm going to try and keep us around there. Then we'll get ourselves leveled out. And then it'll just be a nice standard cruise across to the location where the people want this banner flying. Let's bring that heading around. We need to correct here a little bit. Looking for a 260 pretty much, so let's keep it coming around. That'll probably do us quite nicely there. Right, we're approaching 1,000 feet. Let's start trimming the aircraft out. So now for our banner tow mission, it's going to probably ask us to be at 750 feet, about 60 knots, and then it will give us a heading to be on as soon as we get around the area here. So let's come down ever so slightly. Got 2 miles to go. Swing a little bit more to the right. Good. Got that nice big yellow field in front of me with a green one sticking into it, so I use that as my point of reference here. We're just about 750, just a little high. May need to slow down at some stage. Let's see what the mission planner thinks of it when we get there. Still descending slightly, so let's bring that under control. There we go. So we need to slow ourselves down. We need a heading of 164. We need to be at 750 feet. Okay, so happy with my speed as it is now. Let's bring that descent under control. So it's happy with my heading and my speed. We just need to get our altitude sorted. Let's get ourselves to climb a smidge, add some power. So we now hold this for 5 minutes, do our fly past, and then we head back home. Alright, there we go. So that is our run complete. So, I've got no sort of real digital navigation equipment on this. I could obviously tune a VOR potentially, but all I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 180 onto a reciprocal heading, and then we're going to fly back for 5 minutes, and then we shall turn back onto Oaksea. So I am looking for 350. Shot a little bit. And I'm going to fly this 350 now. Right, well there's my 5 minutes on my roughly reciprocal heading. Let's cheat a little bit and look at the map and see how we're actually getting on. So if I check my map here, we can see we were pretty close. Not too bad at all actually, considering maybe some wind, some poor flying, but let's bring ourselves back round onto our reciprocal of our outbound track, which I believe should be 070. So let's bring ourselves around. I did manage to climb a little bit through that as well, so I'll bring myself back down to my 1,000 feet here. So that's about my 070, so we'll fly this, hopefully, and then we'll spot Oaksea on the horizon. Okay, so with Kemble off of our left there, we're looking for Oaksea just slightly off to our right, and over in the distance here I can actually see our nice big blue smoke signal, which is telling us where we need to drop our banner. So let's deviate of course over to the right there. What we're going to do is take a look at the main window, get our tablet up again. We can see, just make sure that as we fly over we need to drop the banner off. I don't really know if there's any sort of hard requirements for this, but generally I like to do things nice and low, nice and slow, and drop the banner there. It seems to work pretty well, so what we'll do is we'll come in for an approach down this runway 17 here. It'll be the same drop point as we picked it up from. We'll get ourselves nice and slow, we'll drop our altitude here slightly, we'll give it some flaps fairly soon. Let's do that now, so we'll get a notch of flap out. That can slow us down again and keep us going. We want to stay fairly high above these trees and then drop down afterwards, so let's not descend too much. We'll give it some extra power here. There we go, and now we're going to make it over these trees. We can drop ourselves back down again, get roughly lined up with the runway here. Looking pretty good. So we'll continue this and then we shall loop to land on runway 22. There we go, so that is the banner dropped, so let's increase some power and climb up and away. I think something is wrong, as I am not getting any power from this engine. I'm doing fine on fuel. I'm going to loop to land really quickly because I feel like I am set for an off-field landing if I keep going. Okay, I'm not going to worry about my landing lights, we're just going to come straight in. Bit quick. Okay, let's head on around. Don't quite know what happened there with my engine, however we were giving it full power and really not getting any RPM out of the engine at all. And we're still getting the same here. And then we can see we're going to backtrack down the runway here and taxi to our parking. Okie dokie, set our parking brake. Engine's running real rough. I'm guessing we needed some carb heat. Now that I think about it, that's likely what it was, just some icing inside the carb. Okay, well, while we've done that then, let us switch off our transponder. We can flip our avionics off, leave our beacon on, and let's cut our engine. There we go, engine off. We're going to unload our cargo. Go master off. And while that's unloading, I want to say thank you very much for watching this video. If you did like it, please give me a like and a subscription if you feel like I've earned it. We've got our total profit here then, so $977. We gained some reputation and we got a middling rating. Now let's see in the next one if we can do that any better. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.